Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamlined Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. You know, it's getting towards the end of the year, and tonight we are focusing on Clio Grow and how to get your end of the year numbers out of Clio Grow. So we're going to hop over to our Clio Grow screen here and talk about some of those numbers that are going to be helpful to us. Now, from that dashboard, we're going to actually click down on the left-hand side at the bottom. We've got this Reports tab here. And if you click on the Reports tab here, it really does give us a lot of great information. Now, of course, we're talking about the end of the year, but in theory, you could do this, or hopefully in practice, you would do this once a month or once a week or something like that so that we can track things a little bit more consistently than just once at the end of the year. So in our example here, we've got our Reports tab open. And if you come up to the upper right here, I want you to click on Apply Filters so that we can pick the dates that we're looking for. Now, depending on when you're doing this, of course, you may want to pick the date range that says, if you click on Custom here, we can pick January 1st through, December 31st. Now, of course, we haven't yet had a whole year. So instead of doing that date range, I'm going to go ahead and just say year to date for tonight. Okay. But you can pick whatever range you want and be able to select a whole year's worth of data. So I'm going to keep it a year to date. I'm going to use all my matter types, all my lead sources, all my users. I want all of the data across the whole firm. So I'm going to go ahead and click here, Generate Report in the lower right-hand corner. And now it's narrowed down that data from just everything in Clio Grow to that year to date. And so you can see up here, I've had 15 matters that have been entered this past year, 4 of which have hired us. And those are the numbers they're using to calculate this conversion rate over here. So my conversion rate for the past year was 26.67%, okay? And what you'll see is that we've got 10 people still in the pipeline, right, that came in this past year, and then 1 person decided not to hire us. Now, when we look at, those are of course the numbers of matters, but not all matters are created equal, of course. So that's why it really helps to look at this pipeline value as well. When I'm looking at the pipeline value, that's telling me that right now in my pipeline active, they have not decided to hire us or not hire us yet. They're actively in the pipeline. That's a value of $585,000 and $500. Now, it also shows us, though, that $27,500 worth of cases, actually, those people did hire us. And so that's the number that we can get out of here. And then, of course, the one that did not hire us is going to be 0 as far as I didn't have a value on that case. So it just came up as 0. Now, you may very well have values on those cases, depending on why you turn them down or at what stage they didn't work out. But in this example here, we've got 0 for our not hired. So those are the main numbers that we can see at the top of the screen here. Then if you come down here, it breaks it down a little bit more, and it shows me those 15 matters that were added over the past year. Where did they come from? And so you'll see that 6 of them came from Twitter, a couple from Google, referrals, TikTok, things like that. But the thing I find most interesting, and I'm willing to bet a lot of you will have this result as well, is there will be some unassigned matters. And so I highly recommend that if you see any unassigned matters here, and that's actually a category, we're going to go find those unassigned matters, and we're going to actually update them and give them a lead source so that we can go ahead and get some more accurate data and accurate numbers for reporting. And so in order to do that, I'm going to come over here to my pipeline, and I can filter the pipeline as well, right? So I'm going to filter that for any matter that was created after January 1st of 2023, right? Now, this is, of course, easiest to do if we are doing it right at the end of the year. But after 2023, and I'm going to look for any lead sources that are unassigned, okay? And when I put that filter on with the button in the lower right corner here, it's going to show me these 3 matters are unassigned. They don't have a source, a lead source, right? So now keep in mind, unassigned written here means they don't have a matter type. That's also important. I would encourage you to update that as well. But really what we're looking for here is if I click on Sally and I scroll down to Sally, her lead source is unassigned. So I can update that. Let's say it's the website. And I can go back and I can go, to the next one, and I can check to make sure that they have a lead source as well. And I can update that as much as I need to. Now, keep in mind, when I come back to this reports tab, I'm going to have to filter again, right? Unless I did this all in a different tab. So I'm going to filter back to my year to date, generate that report. And what happens is you'll see I still have 6 unassigned. I will tell you that most recently this evening, as I was updating things, it did take up to 10 minutes for that information to update on this reports tab. So if you are going back to update some data or correct some information, please make sure to recognize that it will take some time for that to reappear on the reporting tab. So give that about 10 minutes and it should appear there for you. The next thing that you're going to see oftentimes, if we scroll down here to the next chart, we see is the pipeline value, right? And again, you're going to see broken down by top lead sources how much value there was. But you'll see here that, again, I have unassigned was 20,000, right? Great. We went and we updated all those cases that needed to be assigned. But then my Google cases don't have any value. My TikTok cases don't have any value. And there could be some in here that are actually missing, right? Maybe we neglected to put a value on them. So again, what I would recommend is that you come over to your pipeline and we go and we filter and we can find a matter value that is less than $1, let's say, right? And when we do that, now it's going to filter for all of the cases that don't have a value. So now I can come in here and I can give these cases a value again. The value, by the way, is right up here in the matter fields right here. And to edit that, I'll need to actually edit the matter, come in here and put in a value. And so again, I can go through all my matters and I can update that. And we've got some other required fields there. I can update that and it will eventually update on the reporting tab as well, but you will need, again, to give it about 10 minutes or so. So definitely I would recommend that you go through and do that, because if you're neglecting to put in a lead source or if you're neglecting to put in a pipeline value, then these numbers are not going to be accurate and they're not going to be helpful. And so I would highly, highly recommend that you go ahead and filter your pipeline for lead sources that are unassigned, and then also for pipeline values that are less than $1, right? Because those are the ones we want to find and we want to update. Now, that's the best thing about doing this at the end of the year, right? Is that sometimes we have those values, actually the case is closed and we have more accurate values. If you're trying to get things up to date and those are the values you have, I would use the most accurate value you have. If it's no longer an estimate because that case is closed, then let's get the actual value and let's put that in there, because the more accurate the value, the more helpful it's going to be. Now, again, if your numbers are looking good, you don't have any unassigned lead sources, you don't have any values that are missing, then you're in great shape and this data is going to be really helpful for you. If you find that you have a bunch of unassigned or you have a bunch of values of 0, please do go and update those. And then this is the perfect opportunity for us to start thinking about next year, for us to start thinking about how are we going to get those values in there next year, so that at the end of next year, we're not doing the same exercise where we have to go back and fill in values or fill in lead sources that maybe we forgot or we didn't know about or whatever. So do take a look at your processes and your procedures so that next year we can start collecting that data now and have that information up to date and accurate as we progress throughout the year, but also at the end of the year when we're trying to put those numbers together. Now, one last thing before we hop away here. When we look at our numbers, again, we said that we had year to date. Again, we'll need to filter this because we left that tab. Year to date, we had 4 people hire us, right? Now, we can confirm that by going into Clio Manage, right? And we can come to our matters in Clio Manage and we can filter those as well. And we can say, look at the status date. We want to see anything open. And I want to say open after January 1st of 2023, right? And in theory, those numbers should match, right? If we're using Clio Grow robustly and all of our matters are going through Grow before they hit manage, then when I do this filter, I should have 4 matters here. If you have more matters, then you'll need to take a look at those, right? You'll need to consider, do we have matters that are getting added to Clio Manage without going through Grow? Then that would account for it, of course. But keep in mind, do we want that to happen for next year? Because do we want, or instead, would we prefer to be able to track that and be able to see how many people are coming through and from where? If we just put them straight into manage, we don't have that lead source, we don't have that value, we lose all that reporting data. And so definitely consider that. The other thing you'll want to take a look at is, do we have matters that are being placed straight into manage, maybe imported? Maybe we switched softwares this year. Maybe we got a bunch of new cases from one source, and so we were able to upload them all at once. Those also could account for the differences, of course. So do compare your manage and grow numbers, because I think that will be very helpful for you to be able to get them just more dialed in and more accurate. And of course, if you are fed up at the end of this year by having numbers that are inaccurate and now having to go back and update all of those things in order to get accurate numbers, give us a call. We'd love to help you put together a process and a procedure that will prevent that from happening next year. Thanks so much. Have a great evening.